Now, the rest of the story.
Early morning beans. Don't generally get the opportunity to drop in and start cutting beans at 8:30 in the morning, but my give a you a Noah whatas is pretty well gone. And for being replant, getting the extra frost on them, I mean a lot of extra frost on them was probably a good thing. The last time we were up here trying to run them through, the replanted beans were still green yet, like the beans were like lima beans, and they tested 20%. Ryan and I came out and did a hand test of these beans 3 nights ago, and I don't know if any of you or how many of you have had the pleasure of hand shelling soybeans enough to fill your moisture tester. After 30 minutes, I think we had about a cup. So my buddy has a smaller sample size moisture tester, so we actually used his, because ours uses I think about 3 cups worth of grain, and his uses maybe 2/3 of a cup, and you have to average it out over 3 tests. But I was expecting 17+% beans today. Did a little bit of begging and pleading with the elevator to make sure that they would even take them, just because it's November. Get them out. And yes, my header thing is being stupid. That's actually screaming more now than before we fixed the head. I know it's a calibration issue, I know all that other stuff. Go right back to the first part of my video. We're running. I am definition of a farmer. Run something long enough to get the job done, and it did it most last year, and we got a lot of the bugs figured out, and at least now it's just a calibration. But I'm only running 45 bushel to the acre beans, and today, just today, is like the best day in the forecast. I got 100 acres here, and I'm planning on trying to lob out as much of them as possible. So do what we can. I don't think we tell Dale enough. Of course, I think he's getting tired of me saying it, how much we appreciate that he's here. I mean, we got 2 carts and typically only one person that can ever really be in them, between me or Dad, and having somebody else that can come and help. Between Dale, we got my Uncle Kevin, and Randy can help too, but oh, that's making me sick to my stomach. It says I got 332 bushels. Well, that's a 500 bushel cart, and I'm thinking the yield monitor, maybe it's too early to say that, but I'm thinking the yield monitor might be a little high. I mean, wet bushels is 332, dry bushels is 332. I don't know, but like I say, I'm just glad we're up here doing it, and I'm not gonna sit and keep talking without the combine running, so catch you later. Well, honestly, I think it's worse than it looks. I mean, you see that, or that, and all you think there is pods in there, but what happens is the pods, as the tank is filling or the bin is filling, the pods actually ride up along the top of the beans, and then they get pushed along the outside. So like this is a pretty good example. Kind of some off colors. I got some that are split, but overall, honestly, if you look at them, you can see the different size beans. You got the larger beans, and you got some that are a little bit smaller. So pretty clear definition from the first planted beans and the replanted beans. But when I was figuring 17% moisture and 35 bushel yields, anything, I didn't have my standards set very high, and I'm waiting to be excited or impressed or surprised. I mean, there's some pretty good size beans in here. So you got something like that, but then it offsets the little guy. So, and they feel dry. I mean, they really do. A big issue we've had this year, last year, is moisture. Trying to figure out what some of this stuff is actually checking. So that stuff feels super dry. This is what my monitor looks like, and I don't believe that it's 46 bushel to the acre. I think it's over 50, because it says I only have 975 bushel, but I also have both carts loaded, and I'm stuck. I'm waiting for the carts to get back, but at least Ryan's here. But doing two, I don't even have 2 full outside rounds done, and I'm at 21 acres. So I'm not really sure what to say. I'm not sure how we're off by 0.03 there, but we got 21 up there. But alas, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't, because what matters is what the tickets say when they go to the elevator. And I'm just gonna keep going around and around and around. Largely because it being replanted like it was, there's not really a right or wrong way to harvest this. I mean, if I just planned it once, I would just try to, somewhat follow the rows, but this field lays odd, and I'm trying to do the longest passes as I can just to try to knock it out the best I can. Can't do this with corn, but with beans, I'm just gonna keep going around and around in circles until I start closing in some of these fingers. It's almost like I don't want to say a triangle, like a trident. That isn't right. But here's Dad. But I'll start taking off the smaller pieces, but if I can go through and just do around and around the outsides and just longer passes, if at all possible, so I can get the most amount of makers off in the shortest amount of time. So, good to me. Awesome. Perfect. I guess we could just go with, they look nice and dry, yeah. How are they yielding? Oh, they're yielding like soybeans. Compliments of my buddy Ryan. So, for me, not having really any much high hopes for this place all summer, being delightfully surprised would be a big relief. So I'm not really willing to start saying or hoping that's what it's going to do until we're actually done. And the stuff is really starting to come off. I'm glad we got as much done as we did. Still running 48 bushel to the acre, which is what, 13 bushels more than I was hoping for, or what I was figuring we were going to get. But this is going to end up going on the truck yet tonight for delivery in the morning, and we did a really good job of knocking this out. We'll be able to finish tomorrow. The only thing that's going to slow me down is I made like 7 laps around the entire field because I felt that was the quickest way to make my longest passes, so I'm not just chasing a bunch of short rows. And that's pretty much how I'm going to cut the beans up here from here on out, because that worked slick. Wish I could do the corn like that, but having to do a bunch of short little areas tomorrow, but I don't think it's nearly as bad as if I would have tried to do that from the get-go. Which, if I fill the grain cart or the combine one more time, we'll be out of here by about dark. And this is how I'm ending my day. I had a wagon of corn that was from last night. We finished up down at British for the day. Has to go in the bin because the bin was overfull. Fort Ryan pulled out 2 loads of corn, sent it down to the river. Got it leveled out. Gonna top it off, turn the heat on to it, and get it dried down. Stuff's coming off the field a lot drier than what it was just even a few days ago. running about 21% versus 25 to 27 about a week ago. So I'll take those numbers and harvest our corn in November versus getting it out in October at 27%. We're just not set up for that. That's a lot more stressful to try to deal with that wet of corn for us. So let's see what tomorrow brings. This don't look too bad. The corn looks really nice. I just wanted to make sure that this guy was still moving. It's deceiving because it goes incredibly slow, but what happens is it'll actually slip on this outside rail and you just need to assist it. I've only had to do it twice this season, so I mean it's not super common, but it's something that you definitely keep an eye on when you got corn in the bins. Doesn't matter at what point. It could be the same day you put it in, the same week, month, or it could be 2 days before you're gonna haul it out. You always gotta at least be keeping an eye on the stuff because a lot of money is tied up in a bin full of any crop. So that's working. I'm happy. I did the last job I needed to do for the day, and it's time to head home.